In this video, we're going to cover setting up the Postman collection and making an API request. To begin, you're going to need to register your application with the developer marketplace, as well as create an account and download the Postman app. Next, you'll need to determine which collection you're going to use. Today, we're using the public APIs, so we're going to select Run in Postman for public APIs. This will take us to the Postman download screen, and you want to select the configuration for your machine. So for this, we're going to select Postman for Mac, and you want to select Open Postman. Now we can see that our collection has been imported. If we go over here, we can see that we have all of the public API endpoints. Next, before we can begin making a request, we'll need to go back over to the documentation, and we'll need to download the appropriate environment file for our application. And we can see that we have production and certification. And if you're unsure which one you've registered for, you can go to your registration details PDF. And we can see that our environment is production. So we're going to download the production environment file, which I've already done for this video. Next, we're going to jump back over to Postman. We can see that we currently have no environment. We're going to select the gear icon for manage environments. And we're going to select import environment. Now we're going to want to choose the file that we downloaded. This will be the Kroger production Postman environment. And now we can see that our environment's been imported. Now if we select the name of the environment, we can see the variables. We can see that the base URL, token URL, and authorization URL have already been defined. So next what we're going to want to do is fill in the app details. And for this, we're going to want to start with the client ID. So we're going to want to jump over to our registration details PDF, and we can grab our client ID and we can copy that. And then we're going to want to paste that into the current values, since the initial values are stored to the Postman cloud. You can paste that in, and then you may need to remove any spaces added from the PDF. Next, we'll want to do our client secret. Again, we can grab that from our registration details PDF. Then we'll want to grab our redirect URI. And finally, we're going to want to put in our scopes. It's worth calling out that you're only going to want to put in the scopes that you're going to use. And for this, we're going to be using the client credentials and the products API endpoint. So if we jump over to our PDF, we can see that for the products API, it requires the product.compact scope. So we're going to add this. And with that, we've now defined all of our values. We can select update. Now we can close the environment file, and we're going to select the production environment that we just set up. And we're going to use the products endpoint. We're going to use the get product list. And first, we're going to want to set up our authorization. So we're going to want to make sure that the type is OAuth2. And then we're going to use the get new access token. And we can see that the variables are already being called. And for this request, we're going to be using the client credentials grant type. So we want to make sure that the client authentication is set to basic auth header, and then we can request a token. Now we can see that we have a valid access token. So we're going to want to use this token. And next we'll want to set up the parameters. And so for this request, we're not going to use all the parameters. We'll keep just a couple here. We'll use filter.term and filter.limit. So for the term, we can just use milk. And we're going to set the limit of the results to 2 products. And now that we have our parameters and our access token, we can send the request. Now we can see that we've got a response from the server. We can see that we have 2 products for milk. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see that our limit was set to 2. And with that, we've set up the collection and successfully made our API request.